is not produced here. It's produced in Ireland because
the chair has detected a disturbance in the gallery in contravention of the law and against the rules of the House. The Sergeant at Arms will identify the person or persons responsible and have them escorted from the House chamber.
So all these idiots are up there shouting, "Kill the bill, don't kill us." And apparently one of them decided to take off her top, which, I mean, she understands she's in Congress, right? Like, in Congress, like the same Congress that houses half the sexual perverts in America, she just incentivized Congress to pass a tax bill every single day. I didn't see a picture of the lady, but I assume that, you know, if she is of the female persuasion and has breasts, then half the congressmen in the place are excited about that form of protest. That seems to be counterproductive. But kill the bill, don't kill us. I mean, it just demonstrates the extent to which the left has lost its mind. One of the people who's lost her mind, obviously, is Rosie O'Donnell. She didn't have much of a mind left to lose, sadly. But Rosie O'Donnell tweeted this out. She tweeted out, "So how about this? I promise to give $2 million to Senator Susan Collins and $2 million to Senator Jeff Flake if they vote no. No, I will not kill Americans for the sewer rich." She meant to write super, but she can't type. It's SUOER rich. "DM me, Susan. DM me, Jeff. No bleep. $2 million. Cash. Each." It's like E.E. Cummings for the mentally deficient. So well done there, Rosie O'Donnell. This, by the way, is technically under federal law bribery. So under 18 U.S.C., I believe the actual statute is 18 U.S.C. 201B. It says, quote, "Whoever directly or indirectly corruptly gives, offers, or promises anything of value to any public official or person who has been selected to be a public official, or offers or promises any public official or any person who has been selected to be a public official to give anything of value to any other person or entity with intent to influence any official act, shall be fined under this title not more than 3 times the monetary equivalent of the thing of value, whichever is greater, or imprisoned for not more than 15 years or both, and may be disqualified from holding any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States." So she's openly offering $4 million to Republican senators for them to change their vote, which is bribery under federal law. She's doing that in front of apparently 32,000 likes. So that you know, I guess she must be willing to pay $12 million to the federal government. I said earlier, if President Trump tells Jeff Sessions to initiate a prosecution against Rosie O'Donnell, they will begin carving his face into Rushmore tomorrow. Right? I mean, he will immediately move to the list of the nation's greatest presidents if he initiates prosecution against Rosie O'Donnell for bribery. So I tweeted out, half jokingly this morning, "Lock her up, lock her up." And Rosie O'Donnell got mad, and she tweeted back at me, "Suck my bleep, Ben," which doesn't make sense for a variety of reasons as far as I'm aware. And so I tweeted back at her, "You're already a felon, Rosie. Don't be a homophobic sexual harasser, too." And then I followed up with #MeToo. So that is my A+ troll game right there, gang. That is the troll is strong with me today. So Rosie O'Donnell, yeah, just making a fool of herself as always. And she's not the only one who's going nuts. The Democrats, of course, are going completely nuts as well. The House passed the act, and Paul Ryan brought out the giant gavel. He brought out the enormous gavel. I guess they have this giant ceremonial gavel that they bring out for important occasions and also for sex parties. And so Paul Ryan dragged that sucker out of storage when Nancy Pelosi stood there with the giant gavel when she first became speaker, and she had a bunch of children she hadn't aborted standing around her. He brought that out of storage, and he was whacking that on the podium as they passed it. Here was the video of them passing this thing in the House yesterday.
On this vote, the yeas are 227 and the nays are 203. The conference report is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Okay, so that is a big win for Paul Ryan. It's a big win for the House. It's a big win for the Republican Senate. And it's a big win for President Trump. It is a big win for President Trump. Without this win, he does not have a signature legislative achievement his entire first year. Right? Without that win, the biggest things that he's done this year are Justice Gorsuch and the movement of the embassy to Jerusalem and the filling of the appellate judges. I talked in the last podcast about all of the things that I think Trump has done right. But this is a signature achievement in his first year, and he needed one, right? For Obama, he had several. He had the Lilly Ledbetter Act, and then it took a year and a half, but he got Obamacare. He had passed the stimulus package, which was really his big achievement in his first year. George W. Bush passed tax cuts, I believe, in the middle of year one. So Trump needed this. He needed it pretty badly, and he deserves to be able to celebrate about it. Paul Ryan says this is a profound change to the tax system. Here's what he had to say.
This is one of the most important pieces of legislation that Congress has passed in decades to help the American worker, to help grow the American economy. This is profound change, and this is change that is going to put our country on the right path.
Okay, so the Democrats, of course, went completely nuts because their basic belief system suggests that you don't own your own money, right? That any tax cut to you keeping more of your own money, is actually theft from the federal coffers. And this just, it demonstrates the genuine disconnect as far as what Republicans and Democrats think in terms of where your rights come from. The Democrats believe that your rights come from government. Your right to have property is because the government has allowed you to have property. If it weren't for the government allowing you to have property, you wouldn't have property, right? This is the Elizabeth Warren, Barack Obama view, that you didn't build that, right? Your property rights are based on a government that makes those property rights available to you. The Republican notion, the conservative founding notion, is that property rights predated government, that government was instituted in order to protect those property rights, and that if the government violates those property rights, it has lost its raison d'etre. It's lost the reason for its existence. So you can see this gap in the way the Democrats talk about this. So Nancy Pelosi went up there with a giant yellow sign that says #GOP tax scam, and says that raises taxes on 88 million middle-class families. That is a lie. It does not raise taxes on 88 million middle-class families. I don't know where the hell they're getting that statistic, but there's no evidence whatsoever that that is the case. It says 83% of the benefit goes to the wealthiest 1%. Okay, that is because the wealthiest 1% are paying a wildly disproportionate share of the taxes. And it says it results in 13 million more uninsured Americans. That's a lie, too, because getting rid of the individual insurance mandate, what that does is it allows people to opt out. You can still buy insurance, right? You can still go get covered by Medicaid tomorrow, right? You can go tomorrow. If you're eligible for Medicaid, you can go get covered by Medicaid. What it means is that the vast majority of people who are going to be dropping out don't want to bother with doing these things, and so they haven't bothered to go buy insurance, and they shouldn't be forced to. But in any case, here's Nancy Pelosi saying that this tax plan is theft. How is it theft? Honest to God, I don't understand how it's theft for me to keep more of my own money.
This GOP tax scam is simply theft. Monumental, brazen theft from the American middle class and from every person who aspires to reach it. The GOP tax scam is not a vote for an investment in growth or jobs. It is a vote to install a permanent plutocracy in our nation. They'll be cheering that later.
Okay, they'll be cheering the plutocracy later, the theft. Again, the plutocracy is centralized government stealing your money and using it for whatever purpose Nancy Pelosi wants to put it to. The idea that it is a theft for the government to not take money out of my pocket it's beyond reasoning. It's beyond reasoning. And that's not the only dumb thing that Nancy Pelosi had to say, right? Nancy Pelosi had to say something even more dumb. And here's what in 1 second, I'm going to play you the incredibly stupid thing that Nancy Pelosi had to say. So here it is. Nancy Pelosi, this is clip 19. Nancy Pelosi says that not only is this a tax theft, not only is it creating a plutocracy, it betrays what the founding fathers would have wanted.
It does violence to the vision of our founders. It disrespects the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, who are a large part of our middle class and to whom we owe a future worthy of their sacrifice. And it betrays the future and betrays the aspirations of our children.
It betrays the future and betrays our past, the founding fathers. Does she understand that the reason that we fought a revolution is because no taxation without representation? It was literally the slogan of the revolution. Is she aware that one of the reasons people were mad is because Britain kept putting taxes on all of the imported goods? Right, with the Stamp Act and the Tea Act. Like, is she aware of anything remotely related to American history here? Like, the founders would have hated our tax regime. The founders didn't even believe in an income tax. Like, we had to pass a constitutional amendment to allow an income tax, one of the worst constitutional amendments in American history. Right? I would say easily, actually, the worst constitutional amendment in American history, even worse than Prohibition, was the income tax. But this is just, it's beyond reason. The Democrats have made up an alternative history of the United States in which Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and John Adams and James Madison and Alexander Hamilton were all giant government centralized